Welcome back to Wealthy Mentor Trading, guys. Today is May the 30th, 2022, and today I have 5 stocks that I'm going to be watching going into this week. It is a shortened week with Memorial Day being today. So I am looking at QQQ. It did have a 7% move. It's the largest move since March 14th. GME is the next name. It is reporting earnings on Wednesday, and it did move up 43%. I am going to be discussing some targets on that, along with Nvidia pushing down to that 153 area, as I mentioned last week before bulls stepped in. I am going to be discussing my targets on that, along with AMD moving up 12% above that $100 psychological resistance, along with Netflix finally bottoming out at that 175 area where bulls have stepped in yet again. So again, 5 stocks are on my watch list going into this week. But before we get started, guys, please give this video a thumbs up, share it with your friends. And if you are interested in trading with us on our Discord channel, Wealthy Mentor Trading, we do have a summer promo that entails 2 months for 97 bucks. So if you are interested in day trading with us, along with swing trading, watch list, options callouts, analyst upgrades and downgrades, market analysis every morning, and your morning prep done for you, click that link in the description to get started with us ASAP. That being said, I do have the S&P 500 chart open here, and a few things stuck out to me, right? We did have a nice week, finally getting a move higher as opposed to a continued downtrend. Now, don't get me wrong, we are still in an overall long-term downtrend, but we did get a bounce. And I did mention to our members, I was looking at 2 key areas, right? The first one being that 4150 area. It was previous support up here back on March before we broke down. And now to the upside, it is resistance. So we did close above that area, just above 4158. So that was a healthy sign. And it was an area where I was looking at because we did have these 2 candlestick wicks where I also did mention on the previous stream, which was the bottom back on May the 21st, 2021. So again, testing this area 4150 and closing above it was a healthy sign and a step in the right direction. Now, going into next week, that next area that I'm going to be looking at is 4300. And to me, again, similar to 4150, we do have resistance here with twin rejections on the weekly time frame, along with previous support on the way up being resistance. 4300 is an area where we could potentially move higher before ultimately getting a rejection and then moving lower. As I did mention, overall, we are in a downtrend, so we could still move higher, similar to this move right here, where everyone jumped on the bandwagon. We had 3 straight green weeks, and everyone thought we were going to all-time highs. Unfortunately, we got a rejection and 8 straight weeks of downfall. We did spend pretty much all of May below 4150, so to close above 4150, I could definitely see us pushing to the next area of resistance, and that is that $4,300 line. So definitely look out for that and the market to push higher. And as I did mention, the 5 names that I'm discussing, the first one that definitely had a key role to this push was the tech sector, and that being QQQ. And QQQ did have a phenomenal week, moving up 7%. Here it is right here, solid close at the very top. And this was its largest move since March 14th, right? So this candlestick right here was March 14th, and we haven't had a 7% move since then. So that was pretty significant to me. So I thought I mentioned that to you guys. Not to mention, we did break out the daily consolidation that we've been in, switching over here to the daily time frame, right? Like I mentioned, we were pretty much all of May stuck into this consolidation area below that 306 line. So closing above 306 at 309, I'm definitely looking at a continued move higher towards that key resistance area of 317.50. So I'm definitely looking for a continued move, right? And to me, we still might get a rejection there, similar to the S&P 500, because we do have strong resistance right here, guys, right? So it was previous support back on February. It was previous support back on March. And as you guys can see, bulls did step in on those two lines. So unfortunately, on the way up, just like it was key support, it is going to be key resistance, right? So I am expecting a rejection at that 317.50 line for a continued move lower towards 297. But in the meantime, I am short-term bullish, but long-term bearish, just like the S&P 500. Now, if we do break above that line, where do I see it going, right? So a break above 317, you could definitely see this consolidation area where we got rejected 3 times at that 330 line, once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times rejection at 329, 330, let's just say for round numbers sake. So if we do get a break above 317 and the bulls are on our side, we can definitely see a push to 329, 330. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. As I did mention, 317.50 is an area of strong resistance. So don't get your hopes up. Overall, we still are in long-term downtrend that the bulls definitely need to prove it to us, right? So definitely watch for a continued move to 317.50. The next name that is important to me is GME, GameStop, right? So GameStop was one of those names that succeeded last year, obviously the big short squeeze, and it definitely put everyone on notice. I am going to switch over here to the daily time frame to give you guys my outlook. So again, they are reporting earnings on Wednesday. They did move up 43% on the week, which was this 3-day escapade right here, pushing up all the way to 147 before ultimately getting a rejection. So what am I thinking going in? So again, much like the S&P 500, much like QQQ, we are approaching that key area of resistance. And to me, that is that 158 line, right? So again, on the daily time frame, multiple rejections here, guys, starting from December 2021 all the way to January 7th, 2022. So pretty much almost a full month of getting rejected at that line. And then we head down lower, finally bottoming out at that 77.50 line one time right here in March. Again, bulls stepped in May, and here we are pushing higher. So what am I looking at? 158 is my entry area for a potential push higher all the way to 180, 190 zone. So it is the top right here back on March the 29th. And what most importantly, options traders are looking at that June 3rd 180 calls heading into earnings. So again, they are targeting this peak right here. So definitely keep your eyes on GME above that 158 line, all right? If you guys do see convincing volume, something like this right here on the break of 158, you do know that this move is pretty large and there is volume behind it. Essentially, that's what you want to see as a trader, right? You want to see volume confirmation breaking key levels of resistance. And this is a key level of resistance. So definitely look at 158 as your entry point for take profits of 180 and 190. Now, let's just say we get a rejection at 158. What are the bears looking at? So essentially, we get a rejection at 158, we can see ourselves going down back to 133, which is key support, and it was previous resistance right here. So again, the rule applies. Previous resistance now turns to support. So if we get a hit at 158 and a rejection, look for shorts down to 133. Ultimately, it is key support. If that does break, we are looking at that bottom 115 where it was the breakout last week. All right, guys. So that is GME. Earnings are on Wednesday, 43% weak. Definitely there's some optimism going into earnings for GME. Keep your eyes on those 180 June 3rd calls if you are an options trader. GME is one of those names that we do trade at Wealthy Mentor Trading, and members do get apprised of key moves like this as they are happening. So if you are interested in trading with us, hit that link in the description to get going. All right, another name that did succeed and did have earnings last week, and that was Nvidia, NVDA. And to me, it was significant. because I did target that 153 area on an earnings bomb, and we pretty much hit that after hours. And we have been guarding that 153 to 156 area for quite a bit. We're pretty much just like the S&P 500, spent it below 178 and the bottom being 153, right? So again, going into this week, I am looking for continued momentum, right? Continued momentum towards the next area of resistance. And for me, that is that 204, 205, 206 area where it was support on the way down, resistance on the way up. It was a key rejection right here, back on May the 3rd, May the 5th. So the beginning of the month, we got a rejection, and then the waterfall came down to that 153. Again, I am looking for a correction back up to 204. And again, guys, if you guys want to dig deeper, back in August 2021, it was an area of rejection right here. So again, I am going to go with the trend right now, and that is a move higher. So I am definitely looking above that 188 line for a continued move up to 204, 205, 206 on Nvidia. All right. Next name that is important to me is AMD, another semiconductor name that did succeed. And I am going to switch over here to the weekly time frame to give you guys my outlook. Again, guys, a few things stuck out to me on AMD is that we did hold that 85, $86 line for multiple weeks here, guys. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks that the bulls have stepped in and guarded this line. So again, that is significant. They definitely don't want to get below that. It is an area of consolidation, similar to where it was right here back on November 2020. So, history is repeating itself again. So what am I looking at going in? It was a nice bullish week. 12% on the week was nothing to sneeze at. So again, going into this week, I am looking for a break of this line, right? That 204.50, 205. I want to break the previous week's high where we got a rejection, and it created this doji candle, a reversal candle, pushing us higher the week afterwards. So again, a break above this 204, 205 area, we could definitely see AMD pushing all the way to 115, which was an area of resistance right here. We wicked above it, got a rejection here, and finally coming back down to test 100 psychological support and breaking through with convincing volume. I am again looking above this previous week's high of 104 towards that 115 take profit area on AMD. Again, the semiconductor sector did have a great week. It wasn't as great as the tech sector, but definitely watch for follow through on names like AMD and Nvidia going into the shortened week. All right. Next name that is significant to me is Netflix, right? So Netflix, as you guys know, I mean, pretty much everyone knows about Netflix, right? We definitely got beaten up here. Stock was $700 all the way to 162, and it is significant to me, right? So again, we did wick down to that 162 area, and bulls pushed it back up on 4 consecutive weeks right here above that 170 line, right? So we wicked down, held 175, wicked down, closed the body above 175. So you definitely got to see where the body closes. Again, wicked down, and previous week that we did have a nice move higher, up 10%, we did wick down momentarily to that 175 area. So guys, these are all clues that the bulls are protecting that 175 to 177 area. So what am I looking at going into next week is a continued move higher, right? So we did close pretty much Friday's session last week on par with the previous week. So again, I am looking for continued momentum above that 195 area to test this 205 candle wick right here from the beginning of May. So I am looking for a continued move higher towards that 205 area. And if you are a safer trader, pretty much if I was instructing you, If you are pretty much part of Wealthy Mentor Trading on our Discord channel, I would look above this 205 area for an entry position to take profit at 220, which was this breakdown candle here and in the middle of this second breakdown candle. So 205 for my entry to take profit at 220. So if you're going to go back on the daily chart, you could definitely see why I'm looking at 205, right? We've had multiple rejections here on the daily time frame, so it is definitely an area of resistance, right? We bottomed out at 175. Bulls held support multiple times. I'm definitely looking at this 205 area for my entry to push to all the way to 220. And the reason for that is that we did, again, close these body candles below 220. We did wick higher. That's not saying that we can't head higher. We definitely can, but 220 is where we closed multiple days. So that is the reason why 220 is my target. Now, that is a safer approach. Now, if you are a risky trader, definitely look above 205. Why? It's because it was this previous day's, not previous day, but May the 16th high, right? So look for that 195, 196 area as your entry point towards 205, or wait for 205 for a 220 target. So again, that was a little small lesson for you guys. That is exactly what we do at Wealthy Mentor Trading. I do definitely give you these targets every single week and prepare you for the week ahead. So again, guys, thank you so much for joining. Those were the 5 names I wanted to discuss going into the shortened week. Definitely keep your eyes on Netflix, AMD, Nvidia, GME's earnings on Wednesday, and the tech sector moving higher. Thank you so much for sharing, and please be sure to click that like button and come back next week for another stream. Thank you, guys. Bye.